With the finale of the second season of Alice in Borderland, we saw the final game, the Queen of Hearts, provide an interesting twist, and once defeated, all of the main characters were given a question that decided the fate of their future. And this future meant that there was a slim chance that none of the main characters that we'd seen grow and form relationships together over the course of the 2 seasons would be able to recognize one another. But was that the case? Well, with that, I thought I'd break down and explain if there was a sense of familiarity there. So let's get into it. Here is did Usagi recognize Arisu in the Alice in Borderland Season 2 finale. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. As we embarked on the final episode of the season, it brought an end to the relationships that we'd seen throughout the 2 seasons of the show. 16 episodes of relationship building, connections being formed, lives being risked, a will they, won't they relationship, and the saving of each other's lives was forgotten in a moment. Or at least it seemed that way in the final episode. Once we saw all of the main characters decline the option of residency in Borderland and wake up in the real world, we saw that all of the events that occurred inside of Borderland didn't actually happen in reality. It was in fact all of them on the verge of death in a territory that didn't exist in the real world. It was a crossing between 2 paths, life and death. This was due to there being a meteorite hitting Tokyo and them being harmed and in a critical condition on the verge of dying. But their very survival and declining residency inside of Borderland meant that they would have died if they had have stayed. This then allowed them to survive, and it was them acknowledging that they wanted to live. Once they were back in the real world and in the hospital, we didn't really see any of them together and engaging as they once were when they were working with each other inside of the Borderlands. This provided one alternative theory, and it showed us that the events that we witnessed could have only occurred inside of Arisu's head, and everybody else could have had the same people inside of it due to them all being harmed in reality, but they may not have been together as they were in Arisu's, and it could have been a different version of Borderland. However, I don't think that's the case. When we next saw Arisu and Usagi meet in the hospital by a vending machine, we saw at first Arisu looked at her with a sense of familiarity, like he remembered all of what he'd been through with her, but she just simply asked if she could use the machine that he was in front of, insinuating that she didn't recognize him at all. He was just a stranger. However, when their hands touched, we saw in Arisu's eyes that something had clicked, and he did recognize her, so much so that he was persistent in trying to get her to talk to him. Once he decided to walk away, we saw Usagi change her mind and say that she thought that she did recognize him, but she couldn't quite remember where. However, she was certain that they had. As this happened, she let out a bit of a laugh, which to me made me think that she did recognize him, but she couldn't bring herself to say where she did right then, as I imagine she was probably questioning if it was even real herself, everything that she went through in Borderland. Them walking off at the end and being together, going outside, with Arisu also mentioning that the weather was sunny, was something that I interpreted as them going off together to discuss all that they remembered from their time in Borderland, with the aim of making each other feel comfortable with telling the tale of all that they experienced. So whilst they didn't recognize each other immediately, I believe that the recognition and familiarity is something that will come with time. I believe it will come with time for all of them. Arisu mentioned when he first woke up that it felt like it was a lot longer than 1 minute that he was not in the real world for, and with Usagi stating that she felt as though she recognized Arisu from something like a year ago, it does make me wonder if that's the key sign for the show to tell us that they do know each other, because time didn't feel like what it actually was for them. With Akana also going past Aguni's door when she was in the hospital and stopping, there was also a sense of familiarity there for her too, as they had a strong romantic connection as well, although it wasn't addressed like Arisu and Usagi's. Whilst it was never truly answered if they had memories of each other, I think that they most certainly did. There were small hints, but hints that were made to keep it vague for us as the viewers. However, I like to think that there is a happy ending for them somewhere in there. I suppose if there is a season 3 then we may see it, but if there isn't, then that's all that we're left with. So, there you have it. Did Usagi recognize Arisu in the season finale of Alice in Borderland Season 2? If you want to see more videos such as endings explained, theories and predictions, and character breakdowns, then click on the I button. Or alternatively, you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. If you'd like to give me a show or movie that you'd like me to review, then head over to my Twitter, @BrainPilot_, and tweet me what show or movie you'd like me to review next. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate the latest movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. What do you think? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.